everyone. Welcome to James River TED Ed Club. This morning, we'll be hearing from Karli Woodcock.
When I was younger, I wanted to grow up to be Miss Universe. I also wanted to be a model. I admired physically attractive people I would see in TV shows and movies. I'm 17 now, and my childlike innocence has slowly faded, and I'm more aware of the world around us today. Now, when I walk past people, I may think to myself, wow, that woman is beautiful, or that man is very good looking. But I no longer am drawn to physically attractive people. I'm drawn to kind people, to accepting people, to loving people. Because in a world that is so full of hatred, we need more of these people. We all know someone, at least one person, that no matter who is in front of that person, they smile at them, they will start conversation with them, and will show them love and kindness. I try so hard to be that person. I'm not always successful, but I really try hard to be. I have learned that it doesn't matter what a person looks like, but who they are as a human being, how they carry themselves, what they stand for, how they treat people. I have learned to prioritize the substance of a person rather than what's on the surface of a person. We could sit here and talk about everything that's wrong in the world all day, but in my opinion, the two biggest things that are plaguing our society are judgment and discrimination. I used to be so offended by this word. Who are you to say that I have privilege? I do not live in the biggest house. My parents are not paying for my college, and I am not wearing the nicest clothes. But I am not judged because of the religion that I practice. I am not bullied for being attracted to or loving someone, and I am not belittled or degraded because of the color of my skin. Everyone faces struggles in their life, and everyone has a story. And mine isn't perfect, but compared to some, I have it pretty good. People tend to judge someone at first glance and put them into categories. The sad thing is, it isn't like it's only a portion of people. We all do it. Implicit thoughts or feelings means we are unaware of them or mistaken by their nature. Bias, and instead of being neutral, we have a preference for a person or a group of people. Therefore, implicit bias is when we have judgment of people or associate stereotypes without our conscious knowledge. Let me give you something to think about. Who are your three best friends? What race are they? 68% of white Americans who are between the ages 18 and 34 say that their three best friends are also white. Compared to Black and Hispanic people of the same age, Blacks having a 36% chance that their three best friends are also Black, and Hispanics having a 37% chance that their friends are also Hispanic. And even my source for this data was implicitly biased when collecting the data because last time I checked, there are more than 3 different races. This just shows that we all practice implicit bias without having any idea of it. It is scientifically proven that young white Americans associate and socialize with people who look like them. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, I suppose. I myself fall into that 68% of people of young white Americans whose best friends are also white. But when we think about the formation of stereotypes, does it not make sense that they are formed when one solely surrounds themselves with people who are just like them? You become so familiarized with that group of people and that way of life that it becomes the norm. Without having contact or interactions with people who are not like you, it becomes so much easier to judge someone and associate stereotypes with that person subconsciously. After realizing how precedent this issue is in our society, I have come up with 3 steps that will decrease implicit bias in your day-to-day life. But beware, this is not an easy process. It will not work unless you put yourself out there. There's so much more to life than what is going on in your little bubble. There are more people than the people who are just like you. When interacting with another human being, the first step is to accept that person in front of you, accepting that that person may not look like you, may not speak like you, and may have different beliefs than you. Or it may be accepting that that person is similar to you. They may look like you, speak like you, think like you, but no 2 people on this earth are the same. So accepting will always be needed when having an interaction with someone. The second step is awareness, becoming aware of the world around you. This doesn't have to be reading articles or watching the news. Both are good ways to become educated, but in my opinion, the best way is to simply talk to someone. Start conversation with someone about their life, their culture, their likes, their dislikes. Have a conversation with someone about the struggles they face for looking the way they do or for believing what they believe in. Develop an understanding, and having empathy for people who are different than you is a crucial step in order to decrease implicit bias and judgment in our society. And lastly, appreciating the person. This is the most important step. This is what forms relationships. Appreciating who they are as a person. After the first two steps, they are no longer a stereotype. They are a human being with a story. You can appreciate their differences or their similarities to you, appreciating that you have learned what you have learned from this interaction, what you have gained from this relationship. Advanced companies such as Microsoft and Johnson & Johnson have some of the most diverse workplaces in our country. Why is this the case? Because of what diversity can offer. People of all different races, ethnicities, genders, sexual identities, and religions can all contribute something different based off of their life experiences and individuality. Imagine what your outlook on life would be and how much growth you would have and experience if an individual were to increase the amount of diversity in your life. The United States is a melting pot. There are so many different types of people and cultures in our community, and people do not take advantage of it. We have the potential to have so many great relationships and to be enlightened on so many different aspects of life that you may have never seen if you choose to stay in your comfort zone and surround yourself with people who are just like you. It doesn't matter what belief or views you have, what side you are on. There's no right or wrong. There are people. This is what we should be focusing on. There's an infinite universe out there, and here we are, all of us on this one tiny planet. And we choose to judge one another, make assumptions about one another, base opinions off of appearances. Imagine how much better the world would be if we all valued the substance of a person rather than what's on the surface. If we learned to accept people, become aware of the world around us, and appreciate the person in front of us. There are many problems in society, but what the world needs is a big group hug. Imagine what life would be like if we valued and experienced diversity. Imagine what your life would be like. I've never been a huge fan of Michael Jackson, but his song, Man in the Mirror, has a very relevant message that has stuck with me. The lyrics are, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change. Thank you.